She dropped the pen. The agreement paper trembled in her hands as her father's voice cracked behind her. "Amara, are you sure about this?" She didn't turn back. If she did, she knew she would break. Instead, she forced her fingers to tighten around the paper and nodded slowly, even though her chest felt like it was collapsing in on itself. "It's just land, Papa," she said, her voice softer than she intended. "We can always get another one." Her mother let out a quiet cry from the corner of the room. "That land is not just land, my daughter. It is your grandfather's sweat, your grandmother's memory, everything we have." Amara swallowed hard, blinking back the tears threatening to spill. Everything they had, she knew that. She knew it more than anyone. But she also knew something else. Tunde. She turned finally, her eyes red but determined. "He won't forget us," she said, almost like she was trying to convince herself more than them. "He promised. Once he settles there, he'll send money. He'll take care of all of us. This is just for a while." Her father stared at her, searching her face like he was hoping to find doubt, something that would stop this madness. But all he saw was love, blind, unwavering love. "And if he does?" he asked quietly. Amara hesitated for just a second, just 1 second, but that was enough for fear to slip in. Then she pushed it away. "He will," she said firmly. Across town, Tunde sat on a wooden bench, his phone pressed tightly to his ear. "Amara, please don't do this because of me," he said, but his voice carried a strange mix of urgency and anticipation. "It's already done," she replied, forcing a smile into her tone. "The buyer is ready. Once we sign, you can process everything." There was a pause. "You're serious?" he asked. She laughed lightly, though her heart was pounding. "When have I ever joked about your future?" Tunde exhaled deeply. "I don't even know what to say. You're doing too much for me." "No," she whispered. "I'm doing what any woman would do for the man she loves." Another silence, this one longer. Then he said softly, "I won't disappoint you, Amara. I swear I'll make you proud." Those words wrapped around her like a promise she chose to believe. Back in the small room, the agent cleared his throat impatiently. "Madam, we need to finalize this." Amara looked at the paper one last time. Everything, their land, their future, their security. And in that moment, she didn't see loss. She saw hope. With a deep breath, she picked up the pen again and signed. That single signature changed everything. The weeks that followed moved quickly, faster than she expected. The money came, and without hesitation, she handed it all over to Tunde. "I've started the process," he told her excitedly one evening over the phone. "Visa application, travel documents, everything is moving." Her heart soared. "I knew it, I knew you would make it." "You made it possible," he corrected. "I'll never forget that." She smiled to herself, lying on her thin mattress, staring at the ceiling. "Just don't forget me." "I could never," he said immediately. And she believed him. The day he left was filled with tears and promises. At the bus park, Amara held his hand tightly, like letting go would erase everything they had built. "Call me when you land," she said. "I will. Don't forget to eat." He chuckled. "You sound like my wife already." She blushed, lowering her gaze. "Maybe one day." He lifted her chin gently. "Not maybe, definitely." Her heart skipped. "Go," she whispered, "before I change my mind and drag you back home." He laughed, hugged her tightly, and then walked away. Amara stood there long after he disappeared from sight, her heart full of love and dreams. The first few weeks were perfect. Calls every day. Messages every hour. Pictures of his new environment. "Everything is different here," he told her one night. "The buildings, the people, even the air feels different." "Don't forget where you came from," she teased. "Never," he replied. "That's why I'm working hard for us." For us. Those 2 words became her comfort. But slowly things began to change. It started small. "I'll call you later," he would say. Later turned into hours. Then days. "Work has been crazy," he explained. "You won't understand." She nodded even though he couldn't see her. "I understand." But did she? She began to notice the difference. His voice was no longer as warm. His laughter felt distant. Sometimes when she called, he wouldn't pick up at all. And when he finally did, it always felt rushed. Amara, I'm busy, I'll call you back. But he rarely did. One night she sat outside, staring at the dark sky, her phone clutched tightly in her hand. Her friend Kioma sat beside her. Something is wrong, she said bluntly. Amara shook her head immediately. No, he's just busy. Busy for weeks, Kioma pressed. Even presidents call their wives. Amara forced a laugh. You're overthinking it. Kioma sighed. I hope so. But deep down, Amara felt it too. Something was slipping. And no matter how hard she tried to hold on, she couldn't stop it. Days turned into weeks and the silence grew louder. Amara began to notice the small things she once ignored, the way he no longer said her name with warmth, the way conversations felt like obligations instead of desire, the way she always seemed to be the one trying. One evening she sat on her bed, staring at her phone. His last message had come almost 2 days ago. I'm busy, I'll call you later. Later never came. Her fingers hovered over his contact before she finally pressed call. The phone rang once, twice, 3 times. Then it stopped. No answer. Her chest tightened, she tried again. This time he picked. What is it, Amara? His voice was low, almost irritated. She blinked, caught off guard. I just wanted to hear your voice. You could have just sent a message. The words strung more than she expected. You haven't replied to my messages. I've been busy, he said sharply. I told you that already. She swallowed. I know, I just miss you. There was a pause, a long one. Amara, I'm at work right now, I can't do this. Do what? This constant checking up, it's too much. Her heart dropped. Too much. Yes, he exhaled. You won't understand how things work here, it's not like back home. Back home. The words echoed in her head. That back home is where everything you used came from, she said quietly before she could stop herself. Another silence, this one colder. I don't have time for this argument, he said. I'll call you later. And just like that, the line went dead. Amara stared at her phone, her reflection staring back at her from the dark screen. She didn't recognize the girl looking back. Later that night, she sat with Kioma again, her eyes swollen from crying. He's changing, Kioma said firmly. Amara shook her head, though her voice trembled. No, he's just stressed. Stop lying to yourself. Kioma snapped. A man who loves you doesn't make you feel like a burden. Amara looked away. You don't understand him. I understand enough, Kioma replied. You sold everything for him, Amara, everything, and now you're begging him just to talk to you. That hit deep. Amara's voice dropped to a whisper. I'm not begging. But even she didn't believe it. Weeks passed and the distance became unbearable. Sometimes he wouldn't reply for days. Sometimes he would send short messages like, I'm fine. Busy. Talk later. No more I love you. No more I miss you. Those words had vanished like they were never real. One afternoon, Amara gathered the courage to confront him. When he finally picked her call, she didn't hesitate. Tunde, what is going on? What do you mean? He asked, his tone flat. You've changed, she said. You don't talk to me anymore, you barely even acknowledge me. He sighed loudly. Amara, I told you life here is different. That's not an excuse. What do you want me to do? He snapped. Sit on the phone with you all day. No, she said, her voice breaking. I just want you to act like you still care. Another pause. Then he laughed softly. Not the warm laugh she knew, but something else, something distant. You're being emotional, he said. Her chest tightened. Of course I am, I'm your girlfriend. Were, he corrected. The word hit her like a slap. What? She whispered. I said were, he repeated, calmer now. Amara, things have changed. Her hands began to shake. What are you saying? I can't do this long-distance thing, he said bluntly. It's stressful, it's distracting, I need to focus. Her heart pounded violently. So what, you just want to end everything? It's for the best. For who? She cried. For you. For both of us. Tears streamed down her face. After everything I did for you. Don't start that, he warned. How can I not start it, she shouted. I sold my family's land for you, I gave you everything. I didn't force you, he fired back. The words sliced through her. I didn't force you, he repeated. You chose to do it. Silence fell between them. A heavy, suffocating silence. Amara's voice dropped to a whisper. So that's it. Yes. No apology. I said it's for the best. No gratitude. I've said thank you before. Her lips trembled. No love. Another pause. Then he said the words that shattered her completely. I've moved on, Amara. Her world stopped. What do you mean? She asked, her voice barely audible. But deep down she already knew. I've met someone, he said. Things are different here. Her breath caught in her throat. Someone else. Yes. The tears came harder now. Since when? It just happened. While I was here waiting for you, she cried. Amara, don't make this harder than it needs to be. She laughed bitterly through her tears. Harder, you think this is not already hard? I didn't plan it, he said. These things happen. No, she snapped. Betrayal happens, that's what this is. He went silent. You promised me, she whispered. I know. You said you would come back for me. I know. And now you're just replacing me. It's not like that. It is exactly like that, she screamed. Her voice echoed in the empty room. On the other end, Tunde exhaled slowly. I'm sorry you feel that way. That was it. Not I'm sorry. I'm sorry you feel that way. The final blow. Amara felt something inside her break completely. Goodbye, Tunde, she said quietly. And before he could respond, she ended the call. The silence that followed was louder than anything she has ever heard. The days after that call felt unreal. Amara moved through life like a shadow of herself. She spoke when spoken to, smiled when expected, but inside, everything was empty. It wasn't just the breakup. It was how it ended. Cold, distant, as if everything they had shared meant nothing. At night she would lie awake, replaying every moment in her head, every promise, every I love you, every plan they made together. Had it all been a lie? Or had she just loved him more? One afternoon, Kioma walked into her room without knocking. She paused when she saw Amara sitting on the floor, surrounded by old photos. You're still doing this? She asked gently. Amara didn't look up. She held one picture tightly. It was taken the day Tunde left. They were both smiling, full of hope. He looked so sincere, she whispered. Kioma sighed and sat beside her. People can look sincere and still be wrong for you. Amara let out a weak laugh. I sold my entire future for that wrong person. Kioma didn't reply immediately. There was nothing comforting enough to say. After a moment, she reached for the photo and gently took it from Amara's hand. You need to stop torturing yourself. I just want to understand, Amara said. How do you wake up one day and forget someone who gave you everything? You don't forget, Kioma replied quietly. You choose to move on. Amara frowned. That doesn't make it better. I didn't say it would. A few days later, life forced Amara to step outside again. She couldn't hide forever. The small shop her mother managed needed help, and without the land, things were tighter than ever. Reality had come knocking. Loudly. As she arranged goods on the shelf, she could feel the weight of everything pressing down on her. Customers came and went, unaware of the storm inside her. Amara, a familiar voice called from outside. She turned and saw Ngozi, an old acquaintance, waving excitedly. Long time, Ngozi said as she walked in. I heard your boyfriend travelled abroad, big girl. Amara forced a smile. Yes, he did. Ngozi grinned. That's good. Oh, these abroad men, once they settle, they'll just come back and marry you with dollars. Kioma, who was nearby, shot Amara a quick look. Amara laughed awkwardly, something like that. Ngozi leaned closer. Wait, have you seen his wedding pictures? The world stopped. Amara blinked slowly. What? Ngozi pulled out her phone immediately. Ah, you do know, it's everywhere on Facebook, very fine wedding Seth. Kioma quickly stepped in, Ngozi, I think. But it was too late. Ngozi had already turned the screen toward Amara. And there it was. Clear as bright, undeniable. Tunde, standing tall in a perfectly fitted suit. Smiling. Happy. Beside him, a woman in a white gown, her hand resting gently on his chest. A wedding ring gleamed on his finger. Amara's hands began to tremble. The noise in the shop faded, the world blurred. No, she whispered. Ngozi frowned. You mean you didn't know? Kioma grabbed the phone quickly. Ngozi, that's enough. But the damage was done. Amara staggered backward slightly, her breathing uneven. He said he had moved on, but I didn't know. You need to sit down, Kioma said, guiding her to a chair. But Amara shook her head, tears already streaming down her face. He got married, Kioma, he got married. The finality of it hit differently. This wasn't just another relationship. This wasn't something that could be fixed. He had chosen someone else. Completely. Ngozi looked uncomfortable now. I'm sorry, I didn't mean. It's fine, Amara said quickly, though her voice was breaking. It's fine. But it was. Not even close. That night, Amara couldn't sleep. She stared at her phone for hours, the image burned into her mind. Him smiling. The same smile he used to give her. The same eyes that once looked at her like she was his whole world. Now looking at someone else that way. Her chest ached. Not just from the betrayal, but from the realization. Everything she gave. Everything she lost. It wasn't for them. It was for him. And he had moved on like she never existed. At some point, she opened her phone and went to his profile. Her fingers hesitated before tapping. And then she saw it. Maury pictures. Maury evidence. Different angles of the wedding. Friends congratulating him. Comments like, perfect couple. God bless your union. So happy for you. Her stomach turned. Perfect couple. She let out a broken laugh. Perfect, she whispered. She scrolled further, her heart breaking with every post. Then she saw one that made her freeze. A caption under one of the photos. Found peace where I least expected it, forever starts now. Tears rolled down her face. Peace. So she was chaos. All those years, all that sacrifice, she was just a phase. Her grip on the phone tightened. For a moment, anger rose inside her. Hot, sharp, powerful. She wanted to call him, to scream, to remind him of everything he owed her. But then, she stopped. Because deep down, she knew the truth. No amount of shouting would change anything. No amount of tears would bring him back. And even if it did, would she still want him? That question lingered in her mind. For the first time since everything happened, she didn't have an answer. The question stayed with her longer than she expected. Would she still want him? For days, Amara moved through her routine with that thought echoing quietly in her mind. It didn't scream like the pain had. It didn't tear at her like the betrayal did. It simply sat there, waiting. One evening, as she helped her mother close the shop, her mother paused and looked at her carefully. You've been quiet, she said. Amara forced a small smile. I'm fine, Mama. Her mother shook her head slowly. A mother knows when her child is hurting. The words broke something open. Amara looked away quickly, but her voice betrayed her. I thought I was doing the right thing, she whispered. Her mother stepped closer. You did what you believed was right, that is not a mistake. But everything is gone, Amara said, her voice trembling. The land, the money, him. Her mother gently held her face, forcing her to look up. Look at me. Amara hesitated, then obeyed. You are still here, her mother said firmly. As long as you are still here, nothing is truly gone. Tears filled Amara's eyes. It doesn't feel that way. It won't, her mother admitted. Not immediately, but one day you will understand that what you lost was not your future, it was a lesson. A lesson. The word lingered in her mind. That night, Amara sat alone outside, staring at the sky just like she used to when things were simpler. Only now, she wasn't waiting for a call. She wasn't checking her phone. She was just thinking. For the first time, she allowed herself to see everything clearly. Not through love. Not through hope. But through truth. She had given everything to someone who was willing to walk away. Not because she wasn't enough, but because he wasn't meant for her. And slowly something shifted. Not a sudden change. Not a dramatic transformation. Just a quiet realization. She deserved more. The next morning she woke up differently. Not completely healed. But determined. Kioma, she said later that day, walking into her friend's room with a new energy. Kioma looked up surprised. You look different. I'm tired of crying, Amara said simply. Kioma raised an eyebrow. That's a good kind of tired. I want to start something, Amara continued. A small business, something of my own. Kioma smiled slowly. Now you're talking. I don't have much, Amara admitted, but I can't just sit and keep thinking about him. You won't be doing it alone, Kioma said immediately. We'll figure it out together. And just like that, a new chapter began. It wasn't easy. Nothing about it was easy. There were days she doubted herself. Days she felt overwhelmed. Days she remembered everything and felt that familiar ache in her chest. But this time she didn't let it stop her. She kept going. Step by step. Little by little. Her small idea began to grow. What started as something simple turned into something meaningful. People began to notice. Customers returned. Money started coming in. Not a lot at first, but enough to remind her that she was capable. Enough to remind her that she could rebuild. Months passed. Then a year. And one afternoon, as she stood in front of her now expanded shop, watching customers walk in and out, Kioma nudged her. Look at you, she said with a grin, from heartbreak to boss lady. Amara laughed softly. I didn't see this coming. That's the thing about life, Kioma replied. It surprises you. Amara nodded, her eyes scanning everything around her. For the first time in a long time, she felt proud. Not because of anyone else, but because of herself. Later that evening, as she closed up, her phone rang. An unknown number. She stared at it for a moment before answering. Hello. There was a pause. Then a voice she hadn't heard in a long time. Amara. Her heart skipped. Tunde. She didn't speak immediately. I know you might not want to hear from me, he continued, but I had to call. She finally found her voice. Why? Things didn't work out, he said quietly. The marriage, it's over. Amara closed her eyes briefly. I've been thinking about you, he continued. About everything you did for me. I made a mistake. Silence. I want to come back, he said. I want to fix things. Amara opened her eyes slowly, her gaze steady. For a moment, she remembered everything. The love. The sacrifice. The pain. Then she looked around her. At everything she had built. At everything she had become. And suddenly the answer was clear. You're right, she said calmly. He sounded hopeful. I am. Yes, she replied, you made a mistake. Relief flooded his voice. Then let me fix it, please. Amara took a deep breath. And then she smiled. But this time it wasn't for him. I already fixed mine, she said. Silence. I wish you the best, Tunde, she added gently, but I'm not that girl anymore. And before he could respond, she ended the call. No tears. No hesitation. Just peace. She placed her phone down and looked up at the sky. Not searching. Not waiting. Just free. And somewhere deep inside her, she finally understood. She didn't lose everything. She lost what was never meant to stay. And in return, she found herself. Now tell me, If you were Amara, would you have taken him back? If this story touched you, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel and share your thoughts in the comments below. Would you choose love again or choose yourself? Because sometimes, the greatest comeback isn't revenge. It's becoming everything they thought you never could be.